Hello everybody, welcome to this new episode. In today's video I would like to talk about some various concepts. First of all, I would like to walk you through Eclipse, how to set it up so that you can work upon servlets. We'll be also discussing JSP pages, how to work with JSON objects, how to work with GSOAP. I already made a video in which I explain how to use the basic functionality of GSOAP, but today I will go back onto that subject. And finally, we're going to deploy it on Tomcat. The application that I'm going to develop, it's going to be an API. It will be an API deployed in Tomcat, implemented with servlets, headers, and once we call this API, there'll be only one call, a get call, and we are going to pass a header. This will then connect to a website. I will use MSN for this example. We're going to send on the header a filter word, a keyword, and it will return the JSON object with all the headlines corresponding to that keyword. So let's get started. So the first thing that we need to get ready in order to work with servlets and JSP pages is to have a proper environment properly set. So if you have Eclipse and you go on to help install new software, then you will have to make sure that you have this repository in place, Mars repository. If this repository is not in place, you can just simply add it by clicking on the add button and copying this URL on the URL part field and then name it. You can name it Mars as I did here. So the next thing is that you need to make sure that you have all what it takes for us to work with JSP pages and servlets. So if you scroll down here onto Web XML, Java EE, and OSGI Enterprise Development, you can display this and then try to find everything that is related with web. In my case, what I did, I install, let me show you. Okay, here we have a web page editor. You should have that. Then you have web development tools. You should have that. You should have Eclipse, Java web developers tools, this as well. So once you cover everything that is related to the web under this session, then you click on next, install, accept the license, and restart your Eclipse. So that will get you all set up. And if you are set up, you will know, because when you go here on a new project, then you will see something called I don't see it here, but if you go into order, you might see here web, right? On web, you will see something called dynamic web project. So try to find dynamic web project and click on next. I will call this my news reader. I will name my project like that. You might need to target a runtime environment. So for that, you also should have already downloaded Tomcat. Tomcat can be easily downloaded from Tomcat website. Let me see if it's just Tomcat. Oh, wait a minute, I saw it somewhere there. Anyway, you can just type in download Tomcat. Apache Tomcat is something that you can just download, unzip, place it somewhere in your file system, and run it. I will explain later how to run it. So once you have Tomcat, you need to configure also a new environment. In my case, I'm working with Tomcat 8. I will select the path to where my Tomcat installation is. I need to target a GRE. That is very important, because you need to align your GRE in your Eclipse with the one that Tomcat is running with. Usually it should be the one that you're running in your system. So what I see here is that I have the OpenJDK 11, but actually that's not the one I want to work with. I want to work with the one that Tomcat will run out with. So I need to try to locate, I think it's being Java. There you go. And I see many links here, but I know that the one that my system is running with is the 1.8. I think I know that because if I go into version, it's telling me also that my system, my OpenJDK version, the one I'm using to in the system, is the A2, this one here. So I need to provide this to my installation here. So this is my GRE home. I will give it a name. I will say this is GRE 1.8.0. It says that it cannot find it, so I just give it to the bin. Right, so now I have my GRE. I make sure that it's the same one that my Tomcat will run with. So now I select it from here, finish. So now I know I'm targeting Tomcat version 8. Tomcat when run will pick up my system and Java version. I make sure that I'm configuring my same Java version here inside my Eclipse. So if I go next again, it will be good also to check the generate web XML deployment descriptor, and finally click on finish. I open the perspective. So now I have created a dynamic web project. There's nothing in there, it's just the skeleton of my project. If I open it from here, I could start creating my first JSP page by just selecting new, go down to JSP file. This will be my index page. I'm not gonna do much with the JSP pages, it's just like the basic example how to create a page. Here's my title. I call it my news reader API. This could be the page in which I describe my API and how it works and all the things. So that's all for the JSP pages. I'm not gonna get any farther into the details of the JSP pages. Let's keep it straight to the point. The next thing that I want to make is the servlet. Servlet is the API, for that matter, or the service, or the microservice. You can call it whatever you call. In Java, it's called a servlet, but it represents the exact same thing, an API endpoint exposed to the world. So the way we do that is I'm going to create a here in source I will create a library, a package. So my package will have the same name. It's okay, I like it that way. And I'm going to create my servlet. So I can create my servlet from here or from there, it doesn't matter. I'll go into my project and I go and say servlet. new servlet. I choose my package, the package that I just created, and I give it a name. Convention is to start a name by a capital letter. So I will call this newsreader. Right? My newsreader is the name of a project. This is be named newsreader. If you go next again, you will see that there are a bunch of methods here that you can simply auto-generate. I'm not going to use the post. The only thing that I want to use right now is the doGet method, and I click finish. So this is my API, and this is the endpoint. Good. This is the doGet method, and this is the response. So when I call this method, it will just tell me servlet add, and will give me some context path stuff here. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is, maybe it's a good idea to just deploy this so far and we get an idea what we are doing. So I will deploy, just right click, export. It will create a Word file, something quite not nice, the name, but that's how it's called. So, and I unselect this. I don't want to optimize it for any specific application or version of Tomcat. I go into my Tomcat, the one I'm using. This is the installation of my Tomcat. You just, once you download and zip, you will see something similar to it. Inside your Tomcat installation or directory, you will find something called web apps. Double click on web apps and save your Word file into that destination. Finish. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to start Tomcat. Okay, this is my Tomcat installation. I'm inside a bin folder. There is a script that says startup sh. If I just run it, it says Tomcat started. So now I head on to my browser, go into localhost. By default, Tomcat will be running on port 8080. Here you will see that Tomcat is installed. If you just go / into your project, which is my newsreader, then you will see the JSP page that we just made, the index page, in which I just wrote API. So from here we can then head on to our API. Our API will be located here. This is the endpoint of my API, and this is what it's telling me. It's telling me exactly this: servlet add, and then it's giving me the contextual path. So far we created an API, but we're going to add some more business logic to this API. We're going to make this API do something nice. What I want to do is I want to filter, as maybe I can just quickly show you. It should be here. The JSP file system XML great website, this one. Yeah, here we were doing something with JSP. Well, anyway, I guess you got the idea. We can build it. That was just 6 minutes. We're gonna build it very quick. So first of all, you need to download the library JSP. Just JSP jar download. You could find it something like this. I already did, so I just walk you through again. You download the library. Then we will need also, because we are going to produce a JSON object, you might need also to, I will use org.json, the jar download. So again, this is the library that you will need, the JSON with all the dependencies, you download those two libraries. Okay, once you have those two libraries in your file system, we can then start by going here into the class path, build path, configure build path. In libraries, we're going to add external jars. So the JSON library on one hand and the JSOP library. You need those two libraries, and also very important that those libraries also be in, when you go to web content folder, webinf, you will see something, a folder here named lib. You need those two libraries to be also there. They need to live in lib, because at the moment that you deploy your WAR file, they will be referenced from that destination. So make sure you bring your two libraries there, JSON and SOAP. Good. Now I'm going to create a class that will then connect to the remote server, extract the data, and this class we will run inside the servlet. We're going to invoke that class to retrieve the data and then return it to the caller of this get API service. So let's get started. I create a class. This class is let's call it scraper or scrape, class scrape. Okay, simple class scrape. Inside this class, I'm going to import the JSOP. Let's save everything. And the JSOP is not, something is not okay here. Oh, import was not right. Let's see again. Import JSOP. Here's JSOP. Okay, that's the one I need. I want to import everything from here. So I have JSOP, and I also need to work with the JSON, right? Import org.json. There you go. Now I have the required libraries. Now I need a method that will return the results from the website that we're going to explore. So I will create a public static. It will return a string, a JSON string, or let's say an stringify JSON object, and let's call this method get news. So return null just to get started. Very good. So the first thing we do with the JSOP, we connect via JSOP. We connect to a remote server. In this case, I'm going to use to target a msn.com. Good. So I provide a URL here, and I say get, and this will return a document. Type in document, doc is this. I import document from JSOP nodes, and I make sure that I add the throw declarations. So once that is done, I have to walk through the elements of the object, right? And how we do that is very simple. We have to say, okay, elements is elementos, let's call it like that, elementos, and it will be we need to get element or select element. No, let me see, elements. Yeah, something like get elements from doc. Sorry, from doc. Get elements by tag. We get the elements by tag. The tag that I'm going to look for is the A tag, which is the links. All the headlines, they have a link that points to the original source, right? So that's what we do. We take all the elements by tag, put it into this elements object, make sure that the elements is import the dependency. Good. The next thing that we need to do, we need to just walk through those elements to form the object, that the JSON object that we're going to work with. So the way to do that is by saying just for element x from elementos, do this, right? Let's make sure that everything is in place here in order. What's the element? It's a mismatch. I need to also import element. So let's import element. What I'm not sure is the element is actually a element GSOP. Seems like I just see element here, no element. I mean, I just only see elements. I need to find element. Let's see. I will save everything, see if that makes it easier for me. Oh yeah, import element. That's the one I need. Good. Oh, it's from nodes actually. Very good. Now we have the elements. I could then, I have to go back to see how we generate this object, right? I need a JSON object actually, a JSON object, and then actually put, no, I need to initialize the JSON object. Let's call it JSON object is result, and I say JSON object is like this. We initialize this JSON object, and right here I want to filter the news, right? I don't want that all the news will be displayed here. So for that filtering, I will say that if the X text contains certain keyword, in this case let's say something I can find, maybe that I will find today in news, so then it will add that to the element. And the element, the JSON element or the JSON object, I will then simply add or put or append. I can put a string boolean. I mean, I think I can append the object. So the key, I will use MSN for key, and the value will be the exact same value that we are testing for contain. Text xtext, right? So something is not okay here. I have a dot here that doesn't work. Okay, very good. So this is building the object, and in the end I can return the object, the JSON object. Result. Oh, because it's an object, I want to return as a string, so toString. So the next thing that I want to do is, okay, this MSN, this is key value, so this needs to be different each time, right? I could choose to provide a URL of the source as the key, but just for this, in this exercise, I will just do something simple. I will say count is 0, I initialize a counter, and I append this count to the key so that the key is unique, MSN X, MSA 1, 2, 3, whatever. So that's pretty much it for the working with the GSOP for scraping the websites, working with JSON objects, how to build a JSON object from scratch we have seen so far. And now I need to go back to the servlet, right? The servlet that we created here, and simply here I will call my scrape get news, which is returning a string, a valid JSON object, a stringify, and that's pretty much it. But another thing that I would like to do is to cover the headers, but so far let's give it another try so far, and then we go back into the headers. So I will then simply go on here on my project and say export, and I want to export a jar file, I mean a Word file, where I don't see it. Wait a minute, web war. So there it is. I exported as a Word. Uncheck this, go find my Tomcat installation, install my Word file. What is it saying? Resource Tomcat will have my already exists. If you wish to, yeah, I want to override and finish. So I will then restart my Tomcat by shut down sh start sh, and now I go back to my localhost 8080. I head on to my project, my newsreader here that we didn't change, and I head on to my servlet, which is this one here. And when I click here, oops, nothing happened. We are not seeing anything. What is that? Well, we need to see what's happening here. I'm searching for this. Perhaps we need to search for something more than that. I need to redeploy to make sure that it is actually working as we expected. Let me just redeploy, and oh, there we go. So now we see the response. Now we see that we are filtering from SS, Impressum, American Express. I didn't find anything like I showed. It will just pop up Russia or something like that. So this is a valid JSON object. If we go into a JSON validator like the one I have here, and we say validate JSON, this is giving me a valid JSON object, and this is how it looks. It's providing the news headline, and the key is just MSN and a number. So now I would like to filter, right? I need to pass a filter, and I don't want my service to be, my servlet to be so exposed. I want it to be more advanced. I will include headers into the request. So the way we do that is on the get news, I want to pass a string, and let's call it titular, and that is the string that we're going to filter right here titular. Very good. If I go back to the servlet, I will have to pass here something called coming from the request, right? So inside the get news brackets here, I will type request get header, and the header will be called titular. Okay, so now I build again, I build my project, export the Word into my location, my Tomcat, finish. You don't necessarily need to restart your Tomcat. I like to because it's quite simple. So if I go back to this service, it's not going to work because it requires a header, and as far as I know, there's no way how to pass a header onto the URL. So I will use for that matter Postman. So Postman, in Postman you can create a new collection. Let me just quick these things, and here Tomcat I will add a request, paste this here. Again, if you call it, it will return an error, but if you go into headers here and you create a header titular, and you say, let's say I think I saw the word computer somewhere there in the results, and you go, and there you go. With the word computer, there's only one result. With the word crane, then you have many results like Ukraine and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is how you set up an API using servlets, how to set your API to work with headers, how you can extract content from a remote website and deliver it into your API. I hope it was helpful, and thanks for watching. See you next time.